Before we get into today's episode, let me just say this. Maria Fontana is the kind of woman who can talk about business exits, reinvention, identity, handwritten notes, Italy, denim shorts, and real life caregiving in the same conversation, and somehow make it all make sense. Maria is a two-time best-selling author, an entrepreneur, coach, and private advisor who helps founders and leaders navigate reinvention, refinement, and exit with strategy, soul, and a little Jersey edge. In this episode, we talk about why old school relationship building still wins, why your business should never become your prison, what actually happens when your identity outgrows what you've built, and how to create a life and business that actually feels like yours. So get ready for a conversation that's practical, personal, funny, and refreshingly real. Maria Fontana is here, and you're going to love her. Welcome to Brand for Good, the show for purpose-driven leaders who want to build timeless brands and create sustainable impact. I'm Lorraine Sugart, former PR and marketing executive turned founder of the disruptive agency Prosper for Purpose. I've worked with some of the world's most beloved brands, and I'm here to help you elevate your brand identity, visibility, influence, and impact. Are you ready to brand for good? Let's go. Welcome, Maria Fontana, to Brand for Good. I'm so excited for our conversation today.
Yay! I'm excited too. I'm so glad to be here. This has been a long time coming, so let's go.
Let's go. Yeah. So I met you through Kelly Roach. So shout out to Kelly. She brings wonderful women leaders together. And you and I just kind of navigated to each other online and started supporting one another. And over time, I started seeing what you do as the internal work and alignment for entrepreneurs that really deals with identity and the no BS kind of like, let's just do what we know we need to do approach. And I love that. And what I do is kind of like the other side of the coin of that to some extent. So to bring our listeners and viewers, since we're going to take this onto Substack as a video, hello Substackers, can you tell people a little bit about what you were originally doing? And hair, I think hairstyling coaching was your original business, and then how it's evolved and what you're doing now.
Yes. All right. Well, here it goes, guys. I'm a hairstylist. I started my first salon at 19. I wanted to make money fast, and I wasn't waiting. I was sick of being poor. I'm a first generation of immigrants, great people, hardworking Italian people, but I was so sick and tired when I was young of not having Nikes and the Calvin Klein. I'm like, I need the fastest path to cash. So I went to vocational school, became a hairstylist, not because I wanted to, but it was the fastest path to cash. And I just happened to be really good at it because I am creative and I love people. And my journey started, I opened my first salon at 19. I became a six-figure entrepreneur in 1989 when that was like, it's like millions now. Like it was a big freaking deal.
That was a big number.
Worked 3 jobs, saved the money, opened the business. I did not know what I was doing, but I really cared and I was willing to do what no one else was doing. Hence then my life fell apart, bad divorce, crashed, burned, lost everything, my home. This is a compressed version. And I had to think about how I was going to reinvent myself to take care of my kids. And that's how I started coaching and consulting, because people were constantly picking my brains about how did you reinvent yourself? How did you get out of this? How did you restart your business? How did you do this if you were broke? And that's the whole history of how I reinvented myself, and then all my brands, which I own the Salon Business School, which is what it says, the Salon Business School, it's an online business academy for the niche of the salon industry to help people get to their first 6 figures, because I saw a big gap in my industry that people had no business training. And then I have my consulting, which is private advisory, which I help people at higher levels with their refinement, reinvention, and exiting their businesses. And I still do own a brick and mortar in Jersey, and I invest in real estate. So that's where I'm at right now. So that's like a short version of, doing stuff that nobody knows that you're doing.
I did not know that you had a bricks and mortar.
That's where I came from. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew that's where you came from, but I didn't know you still had it. Good for
Yeah.
you. I have to say, I thought about my hair before I got on today. Like,
It's
oh, I'm meeting with Maria. I got to make sure that my
it's so
hair's
funny. People still, and that's why I talk about identity. People still talk, they relate to me as that sometimes. And it's like, but that's not my identity. That was
no,
part of the story. And that's things I talk
exactly.
about. I don't hide it, but I'm like, hey guys, I'm a best-selling author. I did this, I did that. And that's what I want people to understand. You can do anything you want. There's no
Yeah.
limits to it. But I mean, to make you laugh, when I came into the online space, like in 2008, 2009, from the brick and mortar world, because I owned a cab company, salon, spa, a beauty supply, I'm like, what the hell are all these people doing? Are they crazy? Because I thought this is not real business. And I do still stand on that till today. Would you know that? Because I always talk about it.
Yes.
I'm like, guys,
Yes.
that
Tell
is
us
not real.
more about that. Tell
Yeah.
us more about that philosophy.
So the philosophy is business is business is business, right? Like I started my first business as a kid at 19. I learned foundational business from people that there was no coaching back then. So if you found
Right.
someone that was willing to help you, which they weren't even that open to helping you. I mean,
Oh,
I'm sorry.
really?
In the
Wow. Yeah.
80s, they just weren't. They're like, well, you'll figure it out. I had
Bootstraps, lady,
it was just a
bootstraps.
different time, right?
It
Coaching didn't
was.
exist. So the mentors that I did find were people that were sitting in my chair, meaning John, the lawyer, who of course is not alive anymore. He was an attorney. He was really smart. So he taught me things. Heidi, who became
Wow.
my accountant, she was really smart. She taught me things. Another woman, God, I can't remember her name, but she was like president of like Union Center Bank at the time. And she taught me things. And then someone else did some, and I just learned by doing, and I became mentored by people who knew better than me. I had another guy who was a bankruptcy attorney. He was friggin' smart as hell. I learned so many things from these people, and I would just bank it all. And that's where the foundational business came from, where I realized relationships, like talking to people. I mean, I was doing this morning. I made a video about how I still send, this is a paper postcard, a little note with my name on it and logo. I have a little QR code inside for the tech savvy.
Oh,
I
nice.
I have my team create lists and things on, through my miracle hour, which I do. And I still write handwritten notes. I
I
send
do
people,
too. Mine are over here. I have
yes,
custom stationery with my name on it, and
I
they're
love it. And I
beautiful.
send cookies, I send flowers, I'll send whatever. Why am I telling this? Because it's like old school foundational business. So
It
like
is.
I believe that while I love technology, I love videos, I'm on social media everywhere. I have a podcast, I have YouTube. Like, I love all of that stuff. But the distortion between a quick win and a flashy thing
Yes.
has ruined a lot of people's businesses. And quite frankly, they really never had a business and then they don't last in business because there's no foundation. I always tell people when I used to teach foundational business, I'd say, you're building a house on a swamp. It's going down.
Mhm.
So that's my take on it. And I just think things that are, well, we have to move with the times. And of course, we have to embrace technology and be forward thinking. But I think old school foundational relationships and business strategies, they're always going to win no matter what happens. If my Zoom dies, I'm not going out of business. If Facebook goes down, I'm not going out of business. That's all fun to have and great. They're like the cherries on top of the cake, but I have a good cake. I don't need all the
Yes.
other stuff.
Yes, yes. I love everything that you're saying. I think, especially during the pandemic in 2020, we
Mm,
saw so many so-called experts coming out of the woodwork, and we could have a whole separate conversation about that. But
yeah.
the reality is, people were launching businesses that closed a year later or closed 2 years later because they had kind of a shtick or, something that they could promote. I lost 30 pounds. I'm going to teach you how I did it, right?
Mhm.
But that's not a business model because you don't
Right.
have you haven't done it with anyone but yourself. You haven't built relationships. You don't have data. And,
Right.
I think that it just illustrates like, first of all, you have to have proof, right? But you also have to have the foundations of building something, building a brand for entertainment without
Yeah.
foundational business systems is, like you said, building on sand or what have you. There's no foundational basis there, so it doesn't work. I know when I started my business, I come from a background in journalism and PR and copywriting, didn't come from a business background. So I had to take classes, learn fast, right? Because I knew what I didn't know. But a lot of people, unfortunately, don't know what they don't know, or at least maybe they don't think it's important to know that.
Yeah.
So, first of all, before I forget, I have a title for your next book. I think
Ooh,
it should be called Lessons from the Chair. And you should talk about your mentors. I don't know why that popped into my head. It's like that would be a great book.
I'm gonna write that down. I
Or
have
Lessons from the
four.
Stylist Chair, or
Yeah, I
something
have
like
already
that.
4 ISBNs and titles because I get downloads and I'm like, ooh, let me just,
Yeah.
and then I'll write them when I get to it. So that's a good one.
So the lesson and then your take on it, I think
Yeah.
like that is such an interesting story about how you learned all that from the chair. That is
Yeah.
fascinating to me. And I think the other thing I covered, but I do want to ask you, when clients come to you, and it probably depends on like from which business angle, but say it's a
Mhm,
one-to-one coaching client,
mhm,
typically where are those people at in their career where they're seeking that help? Are they trying to, um, kind of go back and pick up what they missed? Are they, I think sometimes they're at inflection points from what you talk about
mhm,
where they've built something that doesn't feel right or they need to make different shifts. So can you talk about kind of the different points at which you're getting clients and how you help
mhm.
them?
So I call it private advisory. My
Okay.
consulting, Maria Fontana Consulting is a high-end private advisory business. I only see a few clients a year, a handful. It's very high touch. So I think of myself as your thinking partner. It's like I'm the
Mhm.
person who you're going to really get those solutions and make those decisions with. So I help you really
Right.
get clear on what that looks like. And I have a gift. It's a God-given gift. I just can see things from like above and I get downloads of things people just can't see for themselves. And it's
Mm.
like really fast. And then married with my experience, it's so powerful. So
Mhm.
they're mostly entrepreneurs. There are a lot of founders, CEOs, and I do work with senior leaders too in different capacities. Those are the three types of people that come to me,
Okay.
men and women. A lot of women, but I have a lot of men too. They just don't want to be, a lot of times they're more quiet. They don't want, to be known on the forefront or on social media, which is fine, which a lot
Yeah.
of clients, they want privacy. Like
Right.
this is a difference between advisory work and some coaching. You're
Mhm.
not making videos with these people talking about their
Right.
six, like it's just a different animal. They are usually 7 and 8 figure business owners. They're established, very established, right? And I hate
Mhm.
to talk about figures. I don't even like that word, but I'm going to use the word established. And
Right.
they're at a crossroads where they're not sure what's next for them. They know deep down. They're not sure if it's that they want to reinvent their business, meaning change their business model, change how they're operating, or if they need to refine what they're doing, that it just doesn't feel right anymore. Or
Yes.
they may be thinking about getting ready for an exit, which so many people, nobody talks about this. And this is
No
something
one
I'm
does.
talking
No.
more and more about because
Yes.
again, I learned this from one of my mentors years ago. Your business should be built with the exit in mind.
Mhm.
Because if not, he said to me, you're going to have a prison, Maria. You're not going to have a business.
Mm.
And I thought, oh, that's interesting. Now, I'm not saying this is not a one size fits all. There's plenty
No,
of
no.
solopreneurs, plenty of people that's whatever you choose is fine. I'm just saying who I work with, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And so they're usually at a crossroads, a big crossroads, and they need to get clarity. They need to get vision on that next decision. And it's really hard because when you're at these levels, it's like you don't have anybody to talk to. Like
Yeah, you're
your
right.
spouse might not understand, and they don't want to hear your bullshit when you go home from the office or whatever. Your
And
kids,
you probably don't want to revel in the bullshit when you get
right,
home,
right. And
people know.
then your kids, like your friends, like we talked about this before the recording. I
Yes.
know all my friends, they have no idea what I do. They don't get it. And unless they are, maybe there's two of them who are in higher levels of business, they
Hmm.
understand. But everyone else is like, I don't know. And that what are you doing? What is that? And there takes me to the other conversation I had. I only keep people who are in my circle for business on my social media. I have deleted everyone who is not aligned with where I'm going, business, marketing. Those relationships are for personal stuff. So I know I'm getting
Yeah.
off target, but it's like you don't need that approval. So those are the people I'm working with right now. Big decisions. They're already very established. They're not sure if they're ready to reinvent, refine their business, tweak it, or totally get prepared for an exit because an exit takes time. You can't be like, I'm going to sell my business in June. And it's like,
Right.
no, there's a lot of parts that go into it. I mean, I just had a client, she had two med spas and she wanted to exit and start a consulting business. So this client, it's going to take at least 2 years to get her where she needs to be because there's a
Okay.
lot of moving parts and she really wasn't, her back end wasn't structured. Her business wasn't structured properly for anyone to be like, oh yeah, I'll buy that. Like, we all think our
Right.
businesses are so great, but if they're not put together on the back end correctly and the finances aren't correct and all the things you need, your business is not worth anything to anyone.
Right. Or if it's totally dependent on you, it's not
Well,
worth a
and
whole lot either.
absolutely. I
Yeah.
mean, then it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want, but it's not a sellable practice.
Exactly. Exactly. I was going to ask you something and the train kind of left the track, but oh, I know one thing I was going to ask you. I have all these questions bubbling up. I need to be writing them down as you're talking. Um, when people come to you and they're not happy with the business they're running,
Mhm.
is it typically because they're just tired of functioning the same way over and over, or are there evolutions going on within them? Like I've changed, but my business hasn't. And how do you address that?
So the honest answer is every single human is different. Like every single person has a different situation. I haven't met two people with the same, structure, the same problem, the same feelings.
Yeah.
But overall, there's three things I do know for sure. When they're in a stage of reinvention, they're definitely not ready to leave their business. They just gotten stagnated and haven't moved with the times, or their
Mm,
models are dated and they're just they're getting burnt out. So they're starting to
right.
hate their business and they're afraid to change because they're afraid, ugh, this is shocking, but these are people who are very established. They're afraid of being judged. They're still afraid of what people are going to say. They're afraid. One lady, she was like, I mean, she was super, super sick. She's like, I'm so afraid someone's going to think I'm pivoting and that I'm not doing well. They're
Oh,
afraid of
that's
being
so
judged.
interesting. Yes.
They're afraid of being, and it comes down to all this stuff. And it's like, and people think just because you're making 7, 8 figures, all this shit goes away. It does not. It does not. So that's
It's
one part
just,
of
it's the same shit plus different shit, right?
absolutely. It's like, when your kids get bigger, bigger problems. It's like the same
Yes,
thing.
yes.
Refinement, I find this is an assessment I do by just talking to people. I have a bunch of questions. Like I assess like a doctor. Let's figure out what the solution is here. Some people just need refinement, and refinement means that they've got something flowing. They actually really like it, but there's just too many like holes in it. Like maybe their team needs to be restructured. Maybe how they're running their back end model needs to be changed. Like they're just little refinements. Like maybe they're spending too much money on ads that aren't converting, and all they need to do is send a few friggin' postcards. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes, yes. Like, let's go old school.
It
Old
can be like little tweaks, but they're happy where they're at, and they don't really feel bad about themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the exit is when someone reaches, and I've reached this many times, you're like, I'm done with this. Like, I just don't really want to be part of this anymore.
Hmm.
Or I kind of want to be part of it from an outside. Like some people will still stay on as a CEO. I mean, there's all different structures of exit,
Yeah, yeah.
but you're like, you want a clean break, but you also want to have the reward for what your business was. But these people have already detached from the identity. That's another part. I do a
Ah,
lot of work with people on their inner stuff because
yes.
we get attached to our identity. Like I talked about the
Yes.
whole hairstylist thing. Like I don't identify as a hairstylist. I mean, could I do anyone's hair and do it with my eyes shut? Absolutely. I'm friggin' a great colorist, but that's not who I identify as anymore.
Yes. Got
Right?
it.
I identify as a CEO, as a decision maker. Like my identity has evolved, but it doesn't mean that's not still part of me.
Yes, it's a facet. I always say people are like diamonds. We're
Yeah.
multifaceted. And
Yeah.
depending on the angle that you're looking at, it looks different, right?
Yeah.
And that's so true. And
Yeah.
it's so interesting to me. I guess it shouldn't be surprising, but one of the things that has happened as I've gotten older is I don't care
Hmm.
what people in general think.
Hmm.
Like if I wanted to pivot, I would just pivot. But also, I'm not, I mean, there's people with larger businesses or who are more well known. You know, I come from
Hmm.
a PR background, so I like to work with people who want to be out there, and I'm very comfortable behind the scenes. That's why I don't
Yeah.
like being on video and I like writing and all of that.
I love it.
So, but I think for people that are not like me, the people that are used to being out front and all of that, I can see where I'm letting go of my identity if
Hmm.
I pivot and what will people say might be more relevant. Because when you first said that, I thought, oh my gosh, like, do we never get over what other people think? Right?
You'd be surprised. And again, it just depends how much inner work people have done, right? We're not all, I remember my therapist sharing this with me like 25 years ago, and she's like, you're working on yourself, so you're going here.
Yes.
You're this person, your family's here. It doesn't mean you're better than them, but you are
Right.
no longer on the same level energetically. You
Yes.
both can tilt and kind of meet each other, maybe for a
Oh,
coffee or a
that's
short
interesting.
date.
Yeah. Hmm.
But she said, you change and elevate. So everyone's different. Again, you'd be surprised some people where they're like so consumed with what their team's going to think, what their family's going to think, what
Hmm.
their peers are going to think.
Yeah.
And here's the difference between what I do. I don't coach, I don't consult, I don't have a program. People hire me and it's like short and sweet and we get shit done. Like, so it's like there's no long drawn out things. You can either hire me for 90 minutes, for 2 hours, or for a monthly ongoing. Like,
Right.
it's not a long drawn out thing, which a lot of high level people, they're like myself, like I always struggled when I went into a coaching program. There's
Right.
nothing wrong with it, but for me, it was like, I don't know, I just want what I need. And, anyone that knows me, any program I've been in, they're like, yeah, but we never see you show up to anything. No, I just do what I have to do and I do it.
I take
And
what
they're
I need
like,
and
how
move
did you
on.
do that? How did you get those results? Well, I
Yeah.
just learned what I needed and then I took action. And
Yeah.
again, there's nothing wrong with those programs. There's something for everyone. It's just not what I wanted to offer anymore to the clients I'm working with because I kept asking people, and again, asking, what is it that you want? Well,
Yes.
can I hire you for an hour? Can we just do this? Can I meet you for lunch? That's another thing. I do lunches, I do breakfast. Like, I don't do what everyone else is doing. I meet people, they come to Italy, we'll spend like a half a day together. And it sounds so like wow, but it really is like a condensed version of you just get what you need and then there's support.
Yeah, it's very precise.
Hmm.
Let's address what's ailing you and not your whole system. If you
Yeah,
want help with the whole system,
yeah,
you can give them that.
yeah.
You brought up something else, the fact that you live in the States, but you also live
Mhm.
in Italy. Can you talk a little bit about how that came to be and how it's affected your work?
Oh my
If it's
God.
affected your work. I mean,
Yeah, no,
yeah.
it's all good. So how it came to be, I am first generation Italian. My parents are from Italy, so I am also bilingual Italian and have a full clientele in Italy, which a
I
lot of
didn't
people
know
don't.
that
Yeah, a lot of people
either.
don't know that. Both of my businesses are in Italian also, so it gives me a real cool edge. But it was risky when I first did it because I'm like, I don't know if this is gonna work, but it did. So I always loved Italy. I went back and forth as a child, and I am now married. So I'll just condense it. Married to the love of my life, who was my first boyfriend that I met in Italy when I was 15, my summer love. But then there was no WhatsApp, there was no internet. We used to write letters, and he went to the military. So we lost each other. We
Oh
both
my,
married other people that were not the right person, but we both had children with those people. So I guess that was what God wanted. I'm just going to say that.
I
And
say that
our
too.
right, our children were meant to be who they are. And
Hmm.
then we got back together. He saw me actually online when I started doing videos online, and he's like, "Oh my God." And he sent me a message. We had a BlackBerry, I think, back then. There wasn't even like anything too fancy. Make a long
I
story
remember
short,
Blackberries.
yeah,
Everybody was so addicted to their
yeah,
Black.
we reconnected, we got married, and we created this life. And that was when I was just coming into my full speed ahead of my reinvention.
Oh
So
my
he
gosh.
really supported me emotionally and just was like a pillar for me. The reason why Giuseppe and I get along, we're soulmates, and yet he does not impede on anything I want to do. He's like, whatever you want, sounds good. Your intuition knows. So then, we have a home in Italy, right on the beach in Italy, and we both worked really hard. I've
Yeah.
worked really hard. He's worked really hard to create what we have. But that's part of my life. And how does it affect my work? Well, it affects my work greatly because I learned some things, Lorraine, that a lot of people don't know about me. I invest in real estate, but I actually do not own a home I live in New Jersey. I
Oh,
rent.
interesting.
Yeah, because I felt after I lost my home after my divorce, and I'm very open about it. Like I got divorced 18 years ago. I lost my home. It was really brutal and traumatizing. I realized I wanted to direct my energy and my work and my wealth in a different way. So we started investing in real estate in Italy, created an Airbnb. I invested in some real estate for my children. So there's like, wealth later on.
Right.
I liked the freedom of I rent a house in a great area. I'm in the Manasquan Spring Lake area. I leave for the summer and go to Italy. My
Mhm.
kids are older, so they're free. They do their own thing. And I kind of created like the best of both worlds. And I give other people permission that you don't have to do what everyone else is doing.
Yes.
This is like part of my mission. Like, wealth and being rich and being successful doesn't really just mean stuff. It's like, what are you doing?
Right.
I have freedom.
What kind of life do you want to live?
What does it mean to you? And what it means to you doesn't mean it has to be the same thing for me.
Right. Right. I love that. We'll talk offline, but you just said a lot of things that are also true in my life. So I think kindred spirits connect sometimes. We
Yeah,
find each other, but I
yeah.
love that you're saying that. Tell people like so you're on Substack and you're sharing dynamite content.
Thank
So
you.
anyone who is not on Substack, know that you don't have to be on Substack to subscribe to someone's newsletter. So,
Mm.
can you talk a little bit about your newsletter? And also, you're on LinkedIn. Are there other places that you do kind of the deep dives that you're doing on Substack, or is that kind of your unique place?
That's my unique place. And I recently just made public, like last week, I have a private audio feed, which I personally love audio. Like I'm listening to someone's podcast or audio. That's just how I roll.
Me
So
too. Me too.
see, and clients kept saying to me, Maria, I just love hearing you talk. And I thought, okay.
Ah,
And I'm like, hmm. So I created what I call, which I think you get access to because you're in my Substack. It's the
yeah.
operating at your level private audio feed. And what I
Oh,
do
I'm
is
looking for that.
yeah,
Yeah.
every week this is how I do it. And I'll make you guys laugh. This is really behind the scenes. I put my record button on my app on my phone. I sit back wherever the hell I am and I close my eyes and I just talk.
I love
And
that you close your eyes. That's so interesting. So you can just kind of hone in on the message that you want to
yeah,
share.
I don't script. I just let it flow. As
Yeah.
here's another thing I struggle with, and a lot of your listeners will probably get this. I was told by a lot of coaches and mentors I had that you just have to do things a certain way and be real
Mhm.
and it doesn't work for me. Like if today I get a download while I'm talking to you, I'm going to write that down and then I'm going to revisit it. And that's how I record the operating. It's a VIP audio feed, and it's once a week. And I share like really deep conversations, like the nitty gritty, like the shit you're not going to hear anywhere else about entrepreneurship, being a mom, being a 58-year-old woman with grown children, and being a CEO, being remarried. Like I bring in like the truth and business married, because I think everyone's like talking about so much BS online, but they're not talking about like that this morning is 7 a.m. I had to drive across town, go to my mom's house who just had broken her hip 2 months ago, go make sure she was okay. I brought her coffee, I showered her, I dressed her. She didn't need it, but like this is the stuff no one's talking about. And
Right.
I'm talking about it because it's part of our existence. Like
It
no one's
is.
talking about your grown child who maybe has an issue with something, an addiction or whatever. Like there are things that a lot of people are suffering in silence. And I shouldn't say people, a lot of entrepreneurs and founders and CEOs, they're operating up here, but they're not able to articulate and really let go of all the stuff that's like bombarding them. Like you have your
Mhm.
business and then you have life, and it's like, oh,
Right. No, that's so true. And you mentioned being in therapy, and I recently started therapy
I
again,
love that.
just to have like, and a lot of times it's just external processing. Not to take anything away from my counselor, she's
Yeah.
great. But the reality is, I don't have anywhere else where I can talk about the intersection of taking care of my 89-year-old mother who lives 40 minutes away and broke her hip 3 years ago, I think
Oh,
now.
Lorraine, so you get it. Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff. One of my daughters is in Honolulu, the other one's in Manhattan, like as far apart as they can be while still being
No.
in the United States.
Yep.
Like it's nothing earth-shattering, but it's like trying to manage all the pieces, be the daughter, be the wife, be the mother, be the business owner. And sometimes it's a lot. And just like sometimes as I'm talking, you realize that the solution yourself. But you're so right that there aren't communities. And I think that's always why I like communities, but
Mm-hmm.
they tend to be separate. Like, here's where we talk about this, here's where we talk about that. And there's communities for people taking care of aging parents, and there's
Hmm.
communities for people running businesses. But being able to bring it together, and I've experimented with that. I've only been on Substack 3 months now, but I feel like that's the place where I can experiment. Like,
Hmm.
what do I need to say that also is what people need to hear?
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful to be able to just decide that you're going off script, or that, you've mastered some of the foundations and you want to be free to talk about other things. And you really inspire me with the way that you've just gracefully been able to weave that all together.
You're so sweet. Well, I think I struggled with it. Early on in my coaching career, when I was just coaching, I had someone who was like a PR and marketing person
Hmm.
who was very, very revered, and just like, I am not saying they were awesome,
Yeah.
but she kept trying to keep me in a box. She's like, "You're going to discredit yourself. Don't talk about spirituality. I saw that video you made. What are you doing?
Oh, yeah.
Don't show people you're wearing shorts and flip-flops and you're dressed up." And I was like, "But that's me."
Yeah.
So don't talk about being a hairstylist. Like she was
Oh,
constantly
interesting. Yeah.
trying to put me back. And I said, I don't want to be like everyone else because I'm not.
Yeah.
And you know what, Lorraine? I love her. I'm still friends with her.
Yeah.
But I realized I had to take ownership for who is Maria Fontana. I like to
Hmm.
cook. I like to wear flip-flops and denim. I like to curse. I love big, bold necklaces. Like, I like to change my hair color every few weeks or months. Like, don't want to be afraid of people knowing. Yeah, I was a hairstylist. Yeah, I owned salons. Yeah, I did
Yes.
this, I did that. I owned a taxi company. Like, I got divorced. Like, but that's the beauty of being us, right? And when people come to me now for like private advisory, it's like, oh, they're like, it's a breath of fresh air for them because I can I'm like, again, their thinking partner. I'm helping them make big decisions with no
Right.
judgment from the angle of every angle, from your personal side, from your business side. I get what it's like to have teams. I get what it's like to have a family. I get all that stuff. And I get that
Right.
things don't always work perfectly. And
And
it's,
that's the
and it's
thing. No one wants the perfect advisor. People
no,
want people who have had a lived life. They don't want you to bleed on them either on
of
the other
course
extreme.
not. Of
But
course
they
not.
want to
Right.
know that you've struggled and how you've come through because no one believes that anyone has a life that's been free from struggle.
Yeah.
Right. And so
Yeah.
I love that. I always tell my clients, I will give you my best advice, but
Mhm.
anytime it feels out of alignment with who you are, then
Yeah.
you need to go with who you are and we'll make it the right decision. So I adapted something my husband says. He says, you make the decision and then you make it the right decision, right? And so that's what I
Mhm.
tell my clients. Here's my
Mhm.
advice. You choose what is aligned best with you. And if you need to throw this out or you need to, modify it, then we make it the right decision, right? And I'm behind you 100%.
I love that.
And I think that that's a way that you can bring your expertise, but still allow for the other persons. Like,
Mhm.
you want to work with people that see you for you. You don't want to pretend that you're always in suits and, that's how you're talking to people, even if the people that you work with are always in
I
suits.
mean,
Right.
if I bend the camera down, I'm wearing really cute denim shorts and I got sandals on. I mean, if I lift my legs up, I mean, my legs are tan. I mean, literally, like, I'll make you laugh, but that's
Okay,
who I
so here's
am.
me, denim shorts, bare legs, and barefoot. I love
Well,
to
I
be
love that. I just
barefoot.
have shoes on because I'm in my office. So I'd be barefoot too.
So, yes, here's to your denim shirts. I actually prefer wearing dresses when it's hot
I
because
love
I think
that.
they're cooler and looser and all of that.
I love
But
that.
yeah, I'm not going to pretend either. Of course, I'm a creative and I think
Mhm.
creatives are given more leeway, but I just think we're like all so hungry for people to stop showing up as repackaged versions of everybody else doing what they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And we want authenticity. And so being able to say, this is who I am is just so freeing. It's just,
Yeah.
it's really, really good. So we were talking about how people can learn from you
Mm.
through your writing. Tell us a little bit about your newsletter. What is your, it's Maria Fontana, right? Do you want
Right. So this is what happened. Again, transparency. When I started on Substack, I had no idea what the hell I was doing. It was like a new thing I saw somewhere
Yes.
like a long time, a while ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ooh, I have best-selling books. I love to write. I do write on my blog. This might be really cool for me. I didn't think of it as anything more. So I just put it as my name, but then I named the Substack something I just liked, but I didn't know that then you couldn't change it, of course. But so my Substack is Maria Fontana, but like the name of the Substack is Mindset and Alignment Collective. And you really
Okay.
can't change that because it makes a whole big problem. So I just left it.
Okay.
But what was the thing? Oh, so I started just writing little just things that came to mind. And then I started to get a little bit more structured and I just started to see what works. And I have to tell you, I use it as something to share with people like legacy work. And then I
Yes.
love the fact that people can upgrade if they want to. If they don't want to, they don't have to. I give a lot of stuff away for free because that's just how I roll,
Right.
but it's a place where I just find is fun to write. And I love that I also have my private pod, the audio feed on there. So it gives people, if they upgrade, it gives them something really good and juicy and high value and tangible.
Hmm.
And a lot of the clients that are attracted to my work, they're not coming from social media. They come from Google. Like I have a whole system. I can give you all the stats of what works for me.
Yes.
And again, social media is like the cherry on top of the cake for me. But if I lost all
Mhm.
my social media, it would not make a difference in my business, quite frankly. Uh,
That's so interesting.
yeah, and so I get a lot of people from my website, from Google, and that people
Hmm.
that tell me anything they want, but I'm like, well, here's the stats I see, and they're more like private, so they will subscribe in private, or they will just reach out and just work
Hmm.
with me. They won't even subscribe to they like, I saw your work, it really resonated me. I'd love to learn more, blah blah blah. I just go on
Or
my
they listen to
website.
your podcast and then come, but you don't
Yeah,
know who's
it's
listening to your podcast. So when people come to you,
mhm.
sometimes it is like you've had no previous contact. You don't know.
Yeah.
that they've been reading your blog or listening to your
Yeah.
podcast. And
One of
yeah,
the
it's very good.
coolest things that happens all the time is I do see clients like in my office in Manasquan. And sometimes people will be like, I've been following you a year. I've been listening to you a year. You're the same. And then they meet me, they're like, oh my God, you're the same like they just crack up. And it's like such a common thing that
Yeah,
when I meet people, but to me, that's like the best compliment because it's
it
like they
is the
already
best
know me,
compliment.
right? It
Yes.
is, yeah.
Yeah, no, I love that so much. So everyone, if you're whether you're on Substack or not, go subscribe, search. You can, there's a lovely little search bar at the top, and
Mhm.
you can search for Maria Fontana. How else can people find you?
The easiest way is just mariafontana.com. My website's very easy to navigate. Everything's on there, all my social media, and I am on every single social media platform as Maria Fontana Consulting. Like I'm easy to find. YouTube,
Okay.
podcast, you name it, I'm everywhere. Just Google me or ChatGPT. You'll
Just
find
give me,
everything.
just find me, just find me. No,
Yes.
that's so great. Well, I'm so happy that you were with me today on Brand for Good. I hope all our friends on Substack and listening through all the different podcast apps have enjoyed this conversation. And I wish you all a great week. Maria, thank you so much for being with me today.
Oh, thank you, Lorraine. Love you.
Love you too. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Brand for Good show. If you like what you heard, please hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode, and leave a review so other purpose-driven leaders can find this valuable content. To learn more about building a brand for good, please visit prosperforpurpose.com for more resources and information on all the ways you can work with us.